In this video, I'm going to be making the ultimate Batman movie tier list. This list will only have films theatrically released, so none of the direct-to-DVD movies will be included. And at the end of the video, I will be ranking every Batman actor who played a live-action version of this character, so stick around. You may not agree with my ranking, and that's absolutely fine. Everybody has their own opinion. So leave a like on the video, subscribe for more, and let's get into this. Now, there may be an entry or two on this list that I haven't seen. That's why I've created this bottom row right here, and that's okay. We're going to start off with the ones that I actually have not seen. And surprisingly, it's just one. Don't think I'm missing much. Okay, now we're going to be going in order that they're listed here. This first one might be a little controversial to some, not to me. Batman, 1966. Greatest Batman of all time. Hands down. He might not be the flashiest, he might not be the most action-packed, but Adam West, by God, is the greatest Batman who ever lived. That man exudes Batman. Or at least he used to, but unfortunately he recently passed away. He was the most comic booky Batman that we have ever had, and I live for it. He was basically the perfect living embodiment of Batman from the 50s and 60s. Just out there, crazy. I mean, for God's sakes, Batman in the comics of that time turned himself into a genie. A genie. So yeah, I mean, why not? Batman can be fun, Batman can be funny. It's all about time and place. And this one came out at the right time, in the right place. So to me, Adam West Batman will always be S tier. Nothing can top it. Up next, we have Batman 89, the first outing of Michael Keaton as Batman. Easy A tier, pretty great. Jack Nicholson as the Joker was incredible, and I know a lot of people weren't sold originally on Michael Keaton coming in as Batman since he was a comedic actor, but I think he knocked it out of the park. Plus, this is the first actually really serious superhero movie that we had. Yes, before this we had the Christopher Reeves movies, which, in their own right, were pretty good. However, it was still different. Yes, this is over the top and insanely gothic with Tim Burton's incredible vision. However, this was the most serious a comic book movie had ever been, and it set the stage for what was to come, but not everything would have been good. Oh, what do you know? We're already here. What are you gonna do about it? And it's not for the reasons you might think. Obviously, terrible movie. Objectively, god-awful. So bad, in fact, it killed the entire Batman franchise until the next entry on our list. However, the puns. I, being a father and husband, am a sucker for puns. And Arnold in this film is the king of the dad joke. I'm gonna put in a couple of the best one-liners he had in this film right here. You tell me. Look me in the eyes. Tell me this film not a 10 out of 10 just because of Arnold. Enjoy.
The Iceman cometh. I'm afraid that my condition has left me cold to your pleas of mercy. What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age!
Well, good for you, you're wrong.
Okay, now that that's out of the way, honestly, I'm just messing with you. This is going to be an easy D tier. I mean, like I said, it completely single-handedly killed the superhero franchise for a while, especially Batman. And I've actually argued about this with a couple of other people recently in the comments of some of my more recent shorts and videos, but George Clooney is still technically the same Batman as Michael Keaton. You might come in and say, no, they changed that in the comics. I don't care. Growing up, Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, and George Clooney are all in the same universe. Same Alfred, same Commissioner Gordon, and the events of the films build off of each other. The only things that actually changed are the Batman actors themselves, and I suppose Two-Face. Personally, I would have loved to see Billy D. Williams come in and actually be Harvey Dent. Moving on, we have Batman Begins. This was the beginning of the Christopher Nolan trilogy, and the beginning of what most people in fandom say is the best Batman films of all time. I can't stand the voice, and I will not apologize. Having Scarecrow be a main villain of the film, incredible idea. I honestly love it. Scarecrow should be one of the most psychologically twisted villains that Batman has, and having Batman be such a physical and psychological hero, meaning that he's the world's greatest detective and is constantly using his mind, not be able to actually trust what's around him in his surroundings, it's great, honestly, fantastic. And it was a return to the gritty, dark Batman that we originally had. But the voice, I just couldn't do it. People may disagree with me, and that's fine. I mean, my favorite Batman is still coming up on this list. And here he is. No, I'm just messing with you. In all honesty, everything that happened with Val Kilmer recently is just a tragedy. But he's not great. But what we did gain from this movie is one of the greatest stories ever told by Jim Carrey, talking about how when he went to a restaurant and ran into Tommy Lee Jones. I'll put a clip of it right here. It's amazing.
I was at a restaurant and the maitre d' said, "Oh, Tommy, I hear you're working with Tommy Lee Jones. He's over in the corner having dinner." I said, "Hey, Tommy, how you doing?" Like that, and the blood just drained from his face like this, and he went like to hug me, and he said, "I hate you. I really don't like you." And he said, "I cannot sanction your buffoonery."
If I didn't rank this next one pretty high, I'd be in a lot of trouble. So, easy S tier for me. The fact that we get multiple villains in this film really helps expand the universe. We get Catwoman, played by Michelle Pfeiffer, and Danny DeVito, one of the greatest actors of all time, playing the Penguin. Plus, this movie has Christopher Walken in it. That's amazing. He is another caliber actor, one of the best ones of all time. Right up there with Nicolas Cage. He'll always be in my heart. This film takes what was created in the original Batman '89 and knocks it up to 11. I mean, we get Catwoman getting her powers by getting basically thrown out of a window and swarmed by a bunch of street cats, which is fantastic. But honestly, that's a way better explanation than the Halle Berry movie, so I'm going to be okay with it and give it a pass.
You did not have to do that. You knew you did not have to do that. How could you have done that? Can you live with yourself?
And the fact that Oswald Cobblepot in this movie was just so freaking ugly as a baby that his parents flushed him down a sewer. That's just funny, come on. And for those of you who don't know, the person who actually plays Oswald Cobblepot's father in the film is Paul Reubens, otherwise known as Pee Wee Herman, who starred in the very first movie that Tim Burton ever directed, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. So, hope you learned something. The only downside of this film is unfortunately it was going to be the last time that we saw Michael Keaton as Batman for quite a while. Until The Flash, which thank God is not on this list. But honestly, this is my wife's favorite Batman film of all time. The universe is incredibly stylized, it's perfectly acted, it's campy, it's over the top, but it's still great. Plus the fact that they had all those penguins that were living in the Gotham sewers, that's amazing. And that somehow people were getting behind this fugly monster that was running for mayor. I mean, what is wrong with people? The dude looks like a supervillain, and you just had the Joker. Connect the dots. They look that wrong, something can't be right with them. Anyway, easy S tier. This looks like it's the only Snyderverse entry on this list. B tier. Zack Snyder has an incredible eye for action, and all of his films are cinematically beautiful. The best fight choreography we've had in any Batman film. The warehouse scene is probably one of my top scenes of all time in any movie. They had basically both Dark Knight Returns costumes in one film, and the fact that he was using his brain and really systematically taking down Superman. I know Superman was definitely holding back, but still, the entire fight scene that he had with the armored suit, that was amazing. And having Ben Affleck be an actual Bruce Wayne who was more of a ladies' man, but also acted like kind of a bumbling idiot when he was in that house party at Lex Luthor's house, fantastic. And it wasn't an origin story. Yes, it had a bit of an origin story in the opening credits where you see Bruce fall through in Crime Alley with Thomas and Martha Wayne, blah, blah, blah. We already know this. We've seen it 1,000 times, but it's barely touched on. Plus, Scar from The Lion King is Alfred. It's perfect. The only downside is we never actually got to see a Robin in any of these films, meaning Batman v Superman and Justice League. We do have that Robin costume that was hung up in Batman v Superman, and it's assumed that it's Jason Todd. I mean, it could be Dick Grayson, but I highly doubt it. And honestly, it makes me sad to think that we're not going to go back to that universe. But we just have to keep looking forward, I guess. And the only reason this film isn't higher on the list, even though Ben Affleck is my favorite Batman of all time, is the Martha scene. I mean, who could have seen that one coming? I mean, that pretty much broke the movie for me. I mean, that and the fact that General Zod was the villain again for the second film in a row. But besides that, the film's pretty good. I actually do like the director's cut more than the theatrical version, as it does flesh out a lot more, and it has some of the most iconic shots from any Batman film in this movie. I mean, they even recreated the scene from Dark Knight Returns, where he's crossing in front of the lightning and the lightning strikes behind him as he's going to evade Doomsday's eye beams. That's freaking awesome! But something had to give, and unfortunately, it was basically the last third of the movie. Mask of the Phantasm, easy A tier. It was the first animated Batman film to get a movie theater release. Now, I was never able to see it in theaters because I'm pretty sure I wasn't born yet, but I do remember watching it on my own as a kid, and it was amazing. The Phantasm has an incredible design, Mark Hamill's Joker knocks it out of the park as always, and Kevin Conroy, man. He was Batman for the longest time, and he still is, in my mind. Anytime I ever read a Batman comic, I read it in his voice. And Mark Hamill's voice is the Joker, and I'm pretty sure I'm not alone in that. I honestly would love to see them revisit this in a live-action film. I think that would be awesome. The Dark Knight Rises. What can I say about this film? As Tom Hardy's Bane, Talia al Ghul, Anne Hathaway's Catwoman. No. The Dark Knight, easy A tier. It took a long time for me to really understand what people were going at with Heath Ledger's Joker and how he was probably one of the greatest versions we've ever had. He's not the best to me, honestly, that will always be Mark Hamill, but this film is really good. Plus, Aaron Eckhart coming in as Two-Face, fantastic. Unfortunately, he's still got the problem of Christian Bale's Batman voice, but that's just something we have to deal with. And I'm pretty sure that everybody out there knows that this is one of the best Batman films ever made, so I'm just going to leave it here. Controversial take, Lego Batman, the best Batman. I'm not even going to elaborate further. Go ahead and watch it for yourself, you'll understand. And lastly, we have the most recent entry on this list, that being The Batman. I'll put that one also in B tier. Robert Pattinson did a very good job, but he was basically just Batman. And I understand it was Batman Year 2, so he doesn't really have the dichotomy of Bruce Wayne and Batman. Really only has to play it one way, but I could have enjoyed it a little bit more if there was a bit of more of a separation between the personalities of Bruce and Batman. They are supposed to be two completely different entities, technically, with Batman being the real personality, and Bruce being the fake mask that he puts on to keep up appearances. John Turturro, amazing as Carmine Falcone. Zoe Kravitz, pretty good as Catwoman. Paul Dano just killing it as the Riddler. But that weird setup with the Joker at the end, I don't know how to feel about it. They're obviously going to be borrowing a little bit of what's going on in the sequel from the most recent... Not most recent. Jesus Christ, a lot of time's gone by. Anyways, I'm talking about Batman Zero Year, which I'll throw up some imagery from now. That was a Greg Capullo and Scott Snyder run. Very, very good. From the New 52. I mean, Greg Capullo is probably one of my favorite Batman artists of all time. I mean, his artwork is just great, and I know originally he worked on some Spawn, as well as others, but his New 52 Batman run is probably one of my favorite Batman styles that I've seen in a very long time. But what do you think about this? This is my list. It may differ from yours, and that's absolutely fine. But just keep in mind, nothing's going to change it. At least, until Batman the Brave and the Bold. In which case, I could always revisit and update this. I also haven't seen many of these movies in quite a while, so that may change it as well. Now we're going to be ranking all of the Batman actors from worst to best. However, as you can see, it's not the exact same as what our list was in order of the movies. As you can see right here, instead of Robert Pattinson, they have the kid who played Batman in Gotham. So, when you see this picture, think of Robert Pattinson. Do not get it confused with Gotham. That show sucked. Okay, starting off with should not exist. Easily, George Clooney. And I know that everyone hates on the bat nipples, and let's be honest here, that's exactly why. But also, unfortunately, Val Kilmer. My main reasoning for both of these being in the should not exist category is the fact they're both actually Michael Keaton's Batman. And before I get any more sweaty nerds coming at me like I have before, saying that they're actually different because in the comic books they live in different multiverses, shut up. They're the same. Deal with it. I don't care what happened in The Flash, I don't care what happened in the comic book universe, in the movie universe, they're the exact same person. So yeah, just deal with it. They're going to be in should not exist because literally they shouldn't. They're Michael Keaton. In the average category, I'm going to go ahead and put this is Robert Pattinson's Batman. Remember that, not Gotham. Gotham should not exist. But honestly, like I said earlier, Robert Pattinson's Batman is okay, he's serviceable, he really just lives in the Batman persona, doesn't embody Bruce Wayne at all. Which I mean is fine considering it's supposed to be early in the career, but I could still use having a dual personality. it would have been fine. It would have been actually really good, but we didn't get to see it, so it's just average. Coming up next with decent, I'm going to go ahead and shock some people. Christian Bale's Batman is just decent to me. He's not overly great. He's fine. He's a good Batman, pretty good Bruce Wayne. I know that scene where he comes in and buys out the entire place. That's awesome. That's a Bruce Wayne move. However, I cannot stand the voice, and honestly, that's what it is for me. Plus, I'm sure if you're my age group as well, college humor ruined those movies. I mean, do you remember this part right here?
Where were the other drugs going?
I never knew that. Wait, what?
I said, where are the other drugs going?
Why are you talking like that?
Yeah, kind of ruined it for me too. So with that, I think he's just decent. This might be controversial to some people, specifically those in my own family, but up and great, Michael Keaton's Batman. A lot of people out there say that Michael Keaton's Batman is the best. To me, he's great, but not the best. His films are amazing, absolutely. And Michael Keaton as a person, fantastic. I love him and the other guys, probably one of the best parts of that movie. But for me, it's just missing something. Something that they make up with the next two entries on this list. That being a dual spot tied for the best. Ben Affleck's Batman, for the sheer physicality of it and the brutality of the fight scenes. But the king himself is in first place. Rest in peace, Adam West. You are Batman. And as I said earlier, this list might be different from yours, and that's absolutely fine. But to me, this is the perfect ranking. This is Batman. Now to finish up the video. What do you think about this? Comment down below and let me know if you agree or disagree. Don't forget to leave a like on the video and subscribe for more. And as always, have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one.